Warrior Queenie had a peep over the right shoulder, and she's going to blow them away. Galaxy Star draws away from them. Pike Magician.
Welcome to Racing Rewind. Our panel will review the Prime Metropolitan meeting of the week. They will look for the horses to follow, those to forgive, and possibly those to forget. If you have an opinion, send a text to 0427 789 571. 0427 789 571.
Yes, get those texts in 0427 789 571 on that Retrovision text line. Lochie and Richie Bell are in the studios today. Good morning, lads.
Good morning, Marty.
Good morning, Marty. Rich, how are we all?
Lochie in fine touch.
Lochie's a bit excited about working with you today, Richie.
It's our first ever time.
Yeah. Hopefully there's some symbiosis. When you say that, I have worked in the commentary box and you've been downstairs, but not face-to-face in close proximity.
So how's the chemistry so far, okay?
There's that little bit of awkwardness. Year 8 disco, the boys are on one side, the girls are on the other, but we're just happy to have you here, Rich, because you almost didn't make it.
Yes, almost perished this morning down at City Beach and came through it unscathed in the end. But it was a close call.
Was a shark.
No, some brave souls out there this morning, I can tell you. It was very rough down at City Beach. The fishermen were on the rocks, which was the biggest worry because you know what they tend to attract.
Yes.
But there was no sign of them this morning.
Beautiful. How was yesterday's punting stories for both of you guys?
Well, I don't punt anymore, but I tipped a couple that went okay.
Yeah, you tipped the Doom and Cup winner, I know that.
Yeah, Bois d'Argent, the beautiful ride.
I think punters were pretty happy with how the day went there yesterday. There were some well-backed horses that got the money. As you said in some of those big bets earlier, Mart, there was some horses that were well-backed and they got the cash. So I think punters and bookies probably fairly even at the end of the day, but a good day regardless at Belmont Park.
How'd the play?
Really fair, I thought. I thought there were winners all amongst the track. Horses that were on speed, horses off speed. I thought it played really, really well.
Yeah, and it was good to see, a couple of horses come along the fence. At one stage early, I thought, maybe there's a little bit of pattern here, and Macca mentioned it as well with Cashaway and Kripolenko both coming through nearer the inside. But in the end, I think I agree with Lochie. It was playing pretty evenly.
Stipes room?
2 suspensions out of yesterday's meeting. Clint Johnston-Porter received a 7-day suspension for careless riding for his ride in race number 2, and Sean McGrady received the exact same suspension for his ride in race number 9.
That was not secret, getting in the way of Yarra Lee, and Chris Parnham was a little bit lucky for it not to be worse.
Okay, we kicked it off. Race number 1, the Amelia Park Plate over the 1,000 metres.
Last coming towards the home turn, the tail end of Caraway, and so on straightening, 400 left to go. The leader is Lucky I Am. West Star cruises up now and about to take it. As they go to the 250, West Star reaches the lead. From on the inside, Lucky I Am. West Star's broken away down the outside. Ron's Final Flutter. Cashel Palace further back in the field running on, but West Star's got them done and has got them done to an absolute dinner. Comes right away. Goes home to win it very comfortably, West Star. Second home, Ron's Final Flutter from Scenic George.
Young horse with a bit of ability. This 2-year-old by Playing God, West Star. What's the vibe out there about it?
I think there's a really big rap on this horse, Marty, and I loved his win there yesterday. It was absolutely crunched in betting. At 9 a.m, he was around $3.10. In the end, he started $2.50. It was a really good go for him late, and I just loved the arrogance in which Chris Parnham rode this horse. He didn't exactly step all that cleanly, but he just kept him out of trouble. He worked to be outside the leader, and from there you could just see him dwarf the horse to his inside, and he was just travelling so well. In the end, he's won by almost 3 lengths, and he could have won by much, much further. Loved the win. Looks like a horse that could be better suited leading over 1,200 metres, and I think this horse has a really big future.
Yeah, I agree, and it was an outstanding display. I really liked the ride by Chris because early on he just sat out there and he was waiting for the calm on the inside, and when it came he quickly moved up outside, but he didn't have to push the horse, so it meant that the horse really settled well outside the leader. We'd seen the horse trial a number of times earlier last year, or late last year actually, and that 400-metre trial was... it's really worth going back and having a look at that because he bombed the start, was green as grass and really sizzled late. And then he was a little bit green as well in that next trial. And that first race start, Lochie, when he ran third to Sinful Living, he was chasing a fast horse, but he was very green at that stage. And you could just tell he was too raw. And, of course, he was turned out after that and came back with that nice Lark Hill trial win when Holly Watson rode the horse, but still was wandering around a bit in that trial. But yesterday was pretty professional.
Absolutely. I really loved the run of the second horse as well. She'll be one of my horses to follow. That's Ron's Final Flutter. I thought she was still a little bit green throughout, had an awkward draw to overcome, was 3 deep without cover in that race, and you could just see Brad Parnham was niggling at her from around the 500 or 600 metre mark, but once she balanced up and really knuckled down to her task, I thought she found the line really, really nicely. Loved her trial in the lead up to yesterday's run, and yesterday's run just backed my opinion up that it looks like this filly has above average ability.
Yeah, she could easily win at her next start, drawing a gate. That was a really tough effort. She was entitled to drop off from run 4th or 5th, but kept going strongly. Scenic George has battled away after sitting behind the leader. Cashel Palace was another one who trialled probably not quite as well as Ron's Final Flutter, but pretty close on the same day, I think it was. And Cashel Palace worked to the line pretty well after being held up, just evened out late. And your horse, Lucky I Am, I don't know where you go with the horse now. He settled okay with the blinkers on again, out in front, and just faded over the final 200 metres and got beaten 5 lengths.
She is off to the paddock.
Right,
She's pulled up shin sore since. So
that makes sense.
She'll go to the paddock and come back a really nice 3-year-old, I think. Her mother, Lucky Raw, if you recall her, Rich, she was very much a late season 3-year-old, and I think she's very much in a similar mould. Okay,
so could come back and be stronger.
Yep.
And develop the strength over that final furlong. And a couple of the others, Lunda's Image got held up a little bit top of the straight, then got clear and battled away, beaten 5.5. God'll Get You, I think, pulled up sore, so it will go out for a spell. Yeah, it's shin sore.
Okay, now we go to race number 2, the Tab Touch West Speed Platinum Handicap over the 1,000 metres.
Born and bred, though, with a slender lead at the 450 from Russian Sniper. Kripolenko back behind them, looking for the way clear, travelling very easily. Likewise, City Angel, who's outside of Cosmopolitan Girl, not getting a lot of room for the moment. Lucky's way further back is starting to run on Will. As City Angel reaches the lead from Russian Sniper, Kripolenko finally got a run, and Lucky's way's coming down the outside. Back behind them is On the Full. Here's a finish. City Angel on the outside. Lucky's way. Kripolenko driving right up on the rails. Kripolenko got that run through late in proceedings, and Kripolenko's just won it for Whiting over either Russian Sniper, Lucky's Way, City Angel, and also their Bred to Flirt.
Great,
in behind.
He's a nice horse.
When I asked you about this horse on Wednesday afternoon, you gave a good push to him. You thought he had found the right race. He just needed a little bit of luck in the concluding stages.
Yeah. Well, me and Fish were having a chat, and I said, well, you might have to just be patient, mate, So, anyway, Fish was sweating a bit at the 200.
He's been up in work for a little while now. What do you do with him from here on? Is he ready for the paddock? Is he ready for a break? Or is he handling everything behind the scenes really well?
Yeah, no, mate, he's just handling everything great. And last night I went down to feed him up, and he's bouncing around. I said to Kelly, God, this big bloke, he'll run a great race tomorrow, I think.
The stable's absolutely flying. Well done here.
Yeah, and I jumped on Facebook last night, which I normally never do, but I jumped on just to thank Kelly and all my friends and the employers that come and help us, and they don't get a lot of reward for it. It's most times, but I just want to say thanks to all them people that are in the team. A great effort.
Stable in very good form, Lochie. Greg Bugle having a beautiful run at the moment.
Absolutely, only a small team in work, but Greg is doing a terrific job with that small team. And Kripolenko back in grade today. That was a monumental drop in grade. 66 plus back to a West Speed Platinum, which is a 58 plus. And courtesy of a lovely ride from Jason Whiting, who I must say he himself is in some really good form over the last couple of weeks. Had to be patient. He almost looked like a good thing beat at one stage, but once the gap eventually came in between Born and Bred and Russian Sniper, found the line really, really nicely. And whilst I think people will be critical of the beaten margins of perhaps the first 5 or 6 across the line, this horse, with a little more even luck, should have won by well over half a length.
Yeah, I'd say you're right. He's definitely a sit horse. The start before, of course, he led with the blinkers on. The blinkers went off, the winkers were on. When he led, he capitulated, and he had shown speed before at Pinjarra early on down the straight. He was up there vying for the lead and getting beaten, but battling on pretty strongly. But once they started to take the sit, when he went to Ascot and he won there on the 30th of March, beating Enchanting Sound and Norwich, he sat, ran on. Then he had that one failure. I'm not sure what happened that day. I couldn't see any excuses on paper. He just seemed to drop out and had a bad day there. That was over the 1200. Might have been the problem, that final furlong. And then since then, some terrific runs. The second to City Angel was a good effort, although, and Kripolenko's obviously gone on with the job to be able to beat City Angel yesterday. And then the third was a terrific run behind Treasured Queen and Wicked Venom. Got held up badly, rattled to the line on that occasion. Then it had that day where it led and faded. And yesterday with the sit, cuddled up by Jason Whiting. There's no better cuddler of a horse than the fish, and bottled up there and then came through very strongly indeed. So, yeah, he's a nice little sit and sprint horse. 1,000 metres seems to be the key. The other good thing about this horse, he has won off 14 days and he's won off backing up off 7 days. So he's got that versatility as well.
Absolutely. The second horse, Russian Sniper, he's been in work for a little while now, but that was another honest performance. Generally, we see him get back in his races, but it was nice to see him add another string to his bow, because he continues to get back in races, I think, that are lesser quality than what he faced yesterday, but he showed that he can go up in grade, settle handier, and still be right there in the finish. So that was a pleasing aspect for Russian Sniper.
Really surprised to see him outside the leader. I thought he'd be back for sure. So,
and to some extent, he did it pretty easily as well.
Yeah.
It wasn't as if Willie really asked him for an effort. He was just travelling well. He was 3 deep for the first half of the race, and from there he just continued to travel into the race really nicely.
Yeah, it was a great effort, and he's been a very tenacious horse, Russian Sniper, and his previous run at Albany was, I know it's sort of Morgs Freeman type form down in Albany, but she absolutely rattled to the line from a long way back, and for him to sit on speed there, you knew he was going to be in the finish because he was going to be strong at the end. Lucky's Way was really good. I think 1,200's better than 1,000. To see the horse run on like that was really good. I thought Lochie City Angel seemed to have every possibility.
I agree. I thought she had every possible chance. She was the even money favourite, and in the end was beaten almost a length. So for mine, a shade disappointing, especially when you consider that she was just over half a length off the Boss Lady last start.
And Bred to Flirt was slow out. It got that to slow track, probably wants it a little bit wetter. Worked to the line quite well, did get squeezed up late. And your horse on the full, I thought it was a fair effort, got back in the field after a little bit of a tardy start. Usually sits closer, much closer, and it started to run on down the outside, and then maybe the run was just peaking, although it and Bred to Flirt both got squeezed out that final 50.
Going to race number 3, the Key Clean Handicap over the 1,000 metres.
A little deeper, Beads on the outside of Capricorn Man. Cashaway getting a beautiful rails run here on straightening. It's made up good ground very quickly, and then Goddess of Giving, who's labouring behind them, wanting to get across heels as Whiting has to go for the stick in the left hand. Thomas Magnum's running on. Pooley joined on the outside, Rock This Town. Also Beads and Capricorn Man, and now Cashaway. Cashaway getting right up on the inside, grabbed the lead. Goddess of Giving put a mind on the job late, but Cashaway, I thought, just won it. Cashaway in a very busy finish.
It was a busy finish. Holly Watson up on the inside with Cashaway. Now, I just want to make a point of Jason Whiting here. I haven't really seen him with the whip in the left that often, but his whip riding in the left is identical to his whip riding in the right, which is very unusual for jockeys.
Yeah, it was funny with Goddess of Giving there because the horse had its head to one side. I think it might have seen something over towards the outside rail. And just after that, Jason decided to go left hand just to try and straighten the horse up, and it seemed to work. And then the horse dug in and just missed with that big dive, Lochie, late in the grey. Yeah, the greys hung on.
He did actually drop the whip in the end.
Oh, when did he drop it?
Right near the finish, was it?
Yeah, about 50 metres to go. But in the end, Cashaway, really good win. This horse, he's a hard horse to catch, but he does go around at nice prices to, I guess, offset that.
Yeah.
He was fresh at the 1,000 yesterday and just had a really nice run along the rails. I loved the insight that Misty Baisley provided post-race, that Holly Watson came to her with a plan and said that Pooley, if he finds the front, he invariably rolls off the fence. So she just bided her time along that rail, and that's the exact run that Holly envisaged that she'd get.
How important the nuances and subtleties of form to work all that out, and the horse responded really well. Holly's actually performed very well on the horse Fresh previously. Last time out, it ran second, absolutely rocketed home behind Premium Choice. Holly was on that day as well.
It's a horse that's got undoubted ability on its day, hasn't it?
Definitely.
Oh, absolutely.
And it can run. The amazing thing was, early on, most had it pinned as a 1,000-metre, 1,200-metre run-on type who wasn't going to do that over further. And then it's ended up running strongly over 1,600 metres. Yep. It won the mile. It ran 2 slashing seconds behind nice horses, Sisu Warrior and also Pompeii. So this horse can go up in distance and just have a great winter. And it handles wet.
Absolutely. Goddess of Giving, the second horse, I was sucked into her yesterday. Despite her dropping back from 11 back to 1,000, the setup was almost perfect. Obviously, if that race was 1,200 metres, she wins it.
But I can understand why you jumped on. To ameliorate the fact that she was dropping back in distance, it was Belmont Park, plenty of time to wind up, and it goes a lot better second up as well. It's going to be a bit sharper, so...
Continue to follow her. I suspect Lou goes straight back to 1,200 metres next start, and hopefully I'm smart enough to follow up again. Capricorn Man, he's not a 1,000-metre horse in my opinion either. I think he really finds his best work over a little bit further, so he'll be one of my horses to follow. Just the difference in tempo between 1,000 and 1,200 metres is just so different. Over the 1,000 yesterday, no hope of finding the front. 1,200 next start, I think he finds the front and be awfully hard to beat.
Yep.
Okay.
Rock This Town, Pooley, both battled hard after being on pace, so they can be followed.
Text line here. This is an interesting one. It is from Bill from Baldivis. Isn't it the case that when the track is not watered the night before racing, such as was the case yesterday, the track plays fair as seems watering is uneven and the fence tends to be slower, as watered more than the outside, it often evens up later when the wind and sun dry the inside. Your thoughts? Beware the inside when the track is watered 24 hours prior to race day.
Oh, I'll take it away, Lochie. You're on the track all the time.
Oh, I think it's a hard discussion to be had. I really do not know, to be completely honest.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
He's happy. He texted in. I don't know either. Do you know, Marty?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't. No, and I'll stay out of it.
We've got thoughts, but they could be, easily bashed on the head.
Another one here from Richard. You didn't read out the waffle results today. Sorry, Richard, we can squeeze these in on Racing Rewind. West Coast beat Claremont. What about that? 88-67. Peel Thunder continue their stellar form, beating South Fremantle 86-42. East Perth beat Subiaco as expected, 83-59. The Sharks and Perth played a close game. It was 77-73. And then Swans at home in a tight game against West Perth at Bassendean, 87-74. So there you go. Right, let's go to race number 4 there at Belmont Park yesterday. And this was the Peters Investments Plate.
As they approach the turn from Love and War, and now Generosity on the move with the boss lady tracking her as well as they set sail outside of Catch the Red Eye Ancient Guidance down by the 250 Masamune, joined by Generosity. Generosity reaches the lead. Love and War battling. The boss lady can't go on behind them. It's Generosity starting to edge away clear, and with the shades on, she's back today. Generosity wins it from Love and War. The boss lady, she ground away into third placing from Masamune. Then King
Okay, the Peters Investments Plate here, 1,200 metres. Generosity last week was the centre of quite a few texts that punters weren't happy with the ride. Got the money yesterday. What are your thoughts?
And not just last week, in fact, Marty. I feel like this horse has almost been the most spoken about horse on this program throughout the whole campaign. When Josh Parr rode her first up, the second up run when she ran second behind, roped them in, and then obviously last start, people were just sick of her. They'd had enough. They'd had enough. But the blinkers went on yesterday, and that was the masterstroke that produced the winning performance. You could see a clear and noticeable difference in the manner in which she travelled as soon as the gates opened. Brad Parnham had plenty of horse underneath him from the 600-metre mark onwards. He was trying to bide his time and wait to make his run, but she was just going so well that he couldn't wait any longer. And in the end, that was just a really nice performance about a filly that has always had above average ability, but with the blinkers on, settling that a couple pairs handier, that was the winning result in the end.
No doubt in the run, it looked the winner with Massimune sitting outside the leader doing the work, and then the boss lady was behind Generosity, and with the weight, and there was no way it was going to be beating Generosity. The only one maybe that was of some concern that it might pull off a victory was Love and War, who had performed very well in New Zealand, had trialled nicely, and this is one for Bob Peters, so he could have won his own race, but in the end, Generosity just swept down the middle and won very comfortably. The boss lady was terrific, 33.33 coming home, almost as fast as Generosity, beaten a length and a half with 59.5. It showed the quality she's got, and Massimune fought on after sitting in the breeze. One I didn't mind the run of here, Marty and Lochie, was Catch the Red Eye. I know it's finished second last, but it sort of got held up and it was working to the line okay. And I think maybe 1,400 metres next start with a good draw in a similar sort of a race, it could place at odds and potentially pinch a weaker race.
I think what's important going forward when you review this race is that the Raconteur is in 2 weeks' time. So if you are going to follow a horse like Catch the Red Eye, as Rich has outlined, you'd want that to be in a weaker race rather than a Raconteur in 2 weeks' time, which is only going to be a stronger event than what we saw yesterday. And with that in mind, I'm happy to make the Boss Lady a horse to follow out of yesterday's meeting. There'll be some key weight swings between herself and Generosity. 1,400 metres, I think that's what the Boss Lady is now looking for. And I think she can turn the tables on a filly like Generosity next start. But as we've said on multiple occasions on this show, is that it's going to be an outstanding 3-year-old series when you have a horse like Super Smink that might chime in finally back to her own age group.
Yeah,
because we haven't seen her against 3-year-olds in quite some time.
Exactly, after an unlucky run last start. So we got the Raconteur, Marty, on the 8th, and then the Guineas on the 22nd, and then some of those will end up in the Aquanita or the Oaks on July the 6th, and then we come into the Belmont Classic on July the 20th. So plenty of to look forward to with the 3-year-olds.
Second horse, what will they be doing with it? I liked its run.
I really liked its run. You know what I liked?
Ground.
You know what I liked most? Through the line. 200 metres after the post, she's back in front of Generosity. As a type, looks like a 1,400 metre horse, looks like a 1,600 metre horse. I suspect, being a 3-year-old filly, that should head towards a very strong edition of the Raconteur, just knowing that if she can get a little bit more black type on her page, she's just all the more valuable.
Well, she won't be well suited at the weights then, will she?
No. 53, I'd say. But, yeah, should give away plenty of weight.
Off that.
Yeah, exactly.
Race yesterday, yeah. Race 5, the Reliable Asset Maintenance Handicap. It was over the 1,600 metres.
Of Big Beat the Bro. They've kicked 3 clear. From on the outside, Celebrity Witness, Bandolera Miss, followed back behind them. Next of all is Miss Rockjoy, Premium Girl, taking time to build. Then Marinsky Ballet, Cool Memory, though, shot away at the 200. Cool Memory, led by a length and a half. Celebrity Witness grinding down the outside. Cool Memory, though, still with a lead of a length. Over on the outside, Celebrity Witness coming. Cool Memory, shortening stride. Celebrity Witness will dive at it and made it awfully close. Nearly a dead heat. Won't be much in it. Either way it could go. Celebrity Witness, Cool Memory, Marinsky Ballet finished
well, it went the way of Celebrity Witness, just ahead of Cool Memory. Marinsky Ballet and Divine Mercy was a little further back and forth.
Lovely ride from Lucy Fury. She is riding in red hot form over the last month and just gave this horse every conceivable chance. Had a lovely run midfield with cover, popped into the 3 deep line at the perfect opportunity, and just this horse just kept coming to the line. Cool Memory looked home at the top of the straight. You didn't want to be on any other horse, but Celebrity Witness just found the line really, really nicely, and hats off to Jodie McLaughlin. She's done a wonderful job with this mare in this campaign.
Sure has. It's been a funny horse, this horse, Celebrity Witness. Dan Pearce had it. Dan and Ben did a great job with her and had the horse for a long time. A funny story, I actually nearly bought this horse Yeah, no, seriously. So the funny story goes for about 30 seconds if you want to hear it.
Yes.
Go on.
So I called it at York. It ran a really good race at Northam over 1,600 metres, and then I called it at York over 1,900, and I thought, no, 1,900 is a bit far for Celebrity Witness, right? So just after the race, I've got a little sniff that they might be willing to sell this horse, and I put in an offer for 15,000, but they wanted 25,000. So then I said, I'll go for 17.5, see what happens. They came down to 22.5, and I thought, no, it's a little bit much, a little bit more than what I want to pay. So I ended up not going to the 22.5. Anyway, the next week, the horse wins at Belmont Park, 10 days later, 1,700 metres. And then 2 weeks later, it goes to the Ladies' Day Cup, and this is back in 2021, October. I was calling that day. Not only was I calling, the horse wins. I had to present the trophy to the winning connections of a $50,000 race just to rub it in.
Wow.
I know. Anyway, it's ended up with David Smith after that in Kalgoorlie, and he did a good job. He won with the horse as well, and now Jody has been able to get the horse going. Ran really well behind Rogue's Point first up, and that showed to me the horse had come back really well. It was 3 wide, no cover, really toughed it out well. A bit flat next start, but then it ran well again when it placed behind Yarra Lee. It was a really good run. Failed last start, never really got into the race, bounced back yesterday. And the thing that really impressed here, Marty, was Lucy over the final furlong. Her riding, she's got this truncated extravagance where it looks like it's going to be a really extravagant action. She's almost turning her head round to hit it on the behind, but she doesn't quite do that. But this really peculiar rhythm she gets going now over that final 100.
Everything going.
Yeah, and with the leg going, with the right foot going at the same time frenetically, but magically, and she's looking really comfortable. I thought she was terrific in that last 100.
Geez, you've got Lochie over there spellbound. He's heard words there that he doesn't know the meaning of.
Need the dictionary out. Cool Memory, the second horse, as we said, looked the winner at the top of the straight, just got nabbed on the line. I think he's going really well, as is the whole McAuliffe Yard. And Wrensky Ballet, really good run. I think that was her second run under the care of Mitch Pateman. Found the line really well. Other than that, not a great deal to report. Plenty of horses that are on their mark, and Premium Girl, clearly the disappointment out of the race.
Yeah, and I've got one horse I'm pretty keen to follow, Beat the Bro, because now, last campaign, he ran over 1,600 metres, did this sort of thing, bullocking up speed and weakened over the mile. And then the following week, 7 days later, do we have a 1,400 metres in 7 days? Maybe, next Saturday?
He's a programming genius.
Okay, well, it did this last year. It ran 1,600 up front, doing the bullocking work, and faded over the final stages over a mile. Then they tucked it away with a soft run, and it stormed home to win over 1,400 at Pinjarra. So I'm looking for the drop back in distance 7 days later. Do we have it?
Not possible.
Oh, damn it. Okay.
Halfway stage of proceedings. Let's take a break on Racing Rewind.
You are listening to Racing Rewind on Tab Radio Racing and Sport.
Lala grabbed Cocoon Bay, Falcon Trader, trying to haul them in. Wonder Weapon, My Jimmy coming down the outside. Antique Miss finally gets into the clear. On patrol very wide. My Jimmy's the leader though. Antique Miss trying hard, but My Jimmy in front close to home. My Jimmy will win it. My Jimmy beat Antique Miss and Wonder Weapon. Fourth home on
Ryan
patrol.
Kersey's having a good go at it as well, Loch.
He is. Greg Buglehole, 2 winners in a week, and same can be said about Brian Kersley. We rate you on Wednesday afternoon, and My Jimmy, really nice win yesterday. There was a little bit happening in the run with this horse. He wanted to over-race. He was slow out to begin, and then there was some nervous moments if you were on My Jimmy at the top of the straight, because there was a wall of horses in front of him, and Jay McNaught didn't really have anywhere to go, but thankfully for her, Dance of Thunder to her outside dropped off. That provided her with the gap, and then from there, this 3-year-old found the line really, really nicely. He was on the second or third line of betting with Antique Miss, with Pike aboard, a well-backed favourite, but I thought this horse more or less held the favourite on the line. I really liked this win of My Jimmy, and he was second up at 1,400 metres yesterday. He looks like a horse that will improve over a little bit further. I'm excited to see where Brian Kersley takes this horse next.
Yeah, and by chance, Jade had Pike on her inside, which was perfect, and Antique Miss just getting held up for that sort of 50 to 100 metres. Although I don't think Willie would have been unhappy with that because he probably looked the way he wanted to ride it, just cuddled up and then getting out the final furlong. But in the end, my Jimmy was very strong to the line and powered home for a pretty good win. Antique Miss was really good, though, in defeat, continues to race in very good form. I don't know if she's the sort of horse you can back at a short price with a big investment confidently. She's going to have to find that right race and when she's able to blow them away over that final 100 metres. And it turned out it wasn't yesterday, but very good in defeat. Wonder Weapon battled on patrol. It worked to the line okay, but continues to run these sort of races.
Yep. I dropped off on patrol after last start, and when he loomed at the top of the straight, I thought, yep, I've read this narrative before, but yeah, he just continues to run these races where he finds the line well. Wonder Weapon, the third horse, as you touched upon, I thought she ran really well. She's eligible for much easier races. She's only a Class 1 still, so to run third in a race of that calibre, I think back in grade, you can continue to follow her.
Yeah, good backing for Wonder Weapon too, I see. So race number 7, the Celebrate WA Race Day, Saturday, 1st of June handicap. And this was over the 1,200 metres.
The Gift of the Heart will set sail for the judge. Clear only a long neck now. Twain's Angel yet to be popped the question. Treasured Queen, though, the first to pull the trigger. Hooked out around her heels to come out after Twain's Angel. Cable Boy near the rail. Brave Strike further back. They went to the 200. Twain's Angel got the better of Treasured Queen. Dropped her off very quick as she got there. Down the outside, Brave Strike. Twain's Angel's the leader, and she's got them done. She's going to make it 5 straight. Twain's Angel, far too good. Twain's Angel from Brave Strike. Stormy Tawny was
Twain's
third.
Angel, good day for Toronado. Wins a Group 1. Grey horse, Doomben Cup.
Bois de Jean.
Yep.
Bois de Jean.
Bois. This is a terrific win. The only way this horse was going to get beaten yesterday was if Treasured Queen kicked up early with Gift of the Heart and she was left out there a bit and working. But what happened was Gift of the Heart came over in front of Treasured Queen and CJP sort of had to ease back slightly and ended up in 4th place, whereas most expected her to be sitting 1-2. So it meant Twain's Angel just got outside of Gift of the Heart reasonably comfortably. I think that was the key to the race, Lochie.
Absolutely. Maddie Derrick just rode this filly with such great confidence. She almost looked like she wanted to stay out there and just assess her options in the first 200 metres whilst there was a little bit happening to her inside, and from there she knows the horse to her inside well in Gift of the Heart, and I think she knew that horse would at least take her to the top of the straight, and from there she just sat nice and pretty. She sat cosy on the filly, and from there found the line really, really well. Sean and Jake Casey have just placed this horse to absolute perfection, as we touched upon after the win of Generosity. The Raconteur in 2 weeks' time is the logical path for many of these 3-year-olds, but Sean said post-race that won't necessarily be the case for her. They're really happy just keeping her to the sprint trips over 1,200 metres because they continue to place her really well. And even when nominations were dropped for this race on Tuesday, she has an element that she's good enough that horses are actually avoiding her, so she's going around in smaller fields like she did last start in a 6-horse field, and she's just the best probably horse going around in WA at the moment in this grade over this type of trip.
Yeah, she's got that dash at the 250. It's not explosive, but it's pretty good, and it gives her that break on arrivals, and that's why Brave Strike couldn't reel it in, but Brave Strike continues to race well. Stormy Tawny looks like it's in for another good campaign. I think the pads were on yesterday, so the horse found the line really well, and I've always liked Stormy Tawny. Usually sits off them and gets home very strongly. Treasured Queen will back to 1,000 next start. If it can roll to the front again, could be very hard to beat. And Gift of the Heart is looking for a 1,400 metre race, much in the mould of what you discussed with Capricorn Man going 1,000 to 12. More comfortable at 12. Gift of the Heart will be more comfortable at 1,400.
Okay, on to race number 8, the Sky Racing TV Provincial Champion Series final over the 1,400.
Around them here on the outside, Viamonte Ablo. Last year's winners come with a big run. It's around the outside. He's going back inside of them with Californication. Will need a bit of luck from back, and there as Ablo reaches the lead at the 250. Here comes Henry the Aviator. Star Authoress down the outside. Californication trying to squeeze through. Not a lot of room. Battling back Sacred Oath. Sacred Oath on the inside. Henry Henry the Aviator. Sacred Oath is going to win it. Sacred Oath by a long neck. Henry the Aviator. Oh, Californication.
Well done to Roy Rogers there. Gets Sacred Oath. Good training effort this. Well done to Roy. It's been a tough time over the last few months for Roy down there, but he's brought Sacred Oath to town and got the money in a big race.
Yeah, he's got an amazing history, this horse, Sacred Oath. It was owned by Shane Warne, and it ran in Queensland. It started its campaign in Queensland, ran second at Doomben, sitting outside the leader and battling away there. That was back in early 2022. Then it lost the rider at Ipswich, Ryan Maloney. The horse was long odds on that occasion. I think it started about $1.35. It went through the running rail about 200 metres after the start, and then it was forced to trial again, and then it won at the Gold Coast, leading all the way for Noel Callow. And I think Roy might have mentioned that, the fact that it can actually lead in its races as well, incredibly, and scoot away from its rivals. So once it gets over a little bit further, maybe it can do that. But its runs down in the Great Southern, Lochie, have been really, really good. It's been finishing very strongly. There was one day it ran third. I think it was its first start here when Chris Nicol rode it. It made up about 15 lengths from the 600. It was an amazing run. And the last two victories at Albany have been soft, really.
They've been eye-catching.
Yeah.
He's done it with a sense of arrogance, and clearly Lucy gets along with the horse really, really well. I just crunched the statistics on Lucy's form. That's 8 wins from her last 24 rides. So she is going really, really well at the moment. And yesterday was just a cool, calm, collected ride. She was in behind the speed. There was plenty happening in front of her, as there always is in these Championship Series finals. The gap came, and when the gap did come, the horse shows a really nice turn of foot.
The wonderful thing about that ride was that she just kept the horse so comfortable and balanced. She could have easily started reefing its head, looking for the runs inside, outside, but she just waited for that gap to come, and it did come. So when the gap came, the horse was ready and just absolutely exploded through. It was a fantastic ride and a great win by Sacred Oath. In saying that, if they were in different spots, Californication and Sacred Oath, because they were racing together at the 600 metres, if they were in different spots, it could easily have gone to Californication, the race, because it was hopelessly held up and was only getting out in the final stages.
Yes, now that we've paid our respects to Sacred Oath and the good training performance of Roy Rogers and the good ride of Lucy Fury, Californication, that was a good thing, Pete. Let's be real. It should have absolutely bolted in, and yeah, that just sometimes happens. It was awfully unlucky. Wherever Paddy went, there was a wall of horses in front of him, and yeah, he's a really nice horse, and I really feel he'll measure up to Saturday Company.
Yeah, there was nothing Paddy could do about it. Henry the Aviator tracked up and was good in defeat. What about the run of Star Authoress? She'd actually been motoring home at Albany on a couple of occasions.
Got ability, this horse.
Oh, it sure does. It made up a stack of ground. It was going to run third until the shadows. Can you imagine backing at a place, or you've banked on it to run second and third in trifectas, and Paddy's eventually got the clear run and just nails Star Authoress on the line. Ablo had to do a lot of work coming with a long, sustained run out wide. So I think the effort was pretty good to only get beaten a length and a half.
Thought Gage Rhodes didn't have a lot of luck either, thrown out by McGinnity on straight up. I can feel your pain there.
Yeah, in saying that, the last 100 it got clear, and I thought the wind up. I think, yeah, probably a wind up horse, but I don't think it might have been able to finish a length and a half closer, but that was about it. A bit of an eye catcher from the back here, Tropical Sun. It got checked at about the 800, and horse dropped back in front of it. Might have actually been Gage Rhodes. Fortune's Luck was outside at that point, and then in the straight, it got severely held up. Eventually got to the outside, and has really steamed that last 100 metres. I thought it was a really good effort by Tropical Sun.
Chris Acomo sent one in. Truncated extravagance is a racing term used by Richie Bell today, which I haven't heard before. So, morning team, question for the panel. Is there any reason why they don't blend the crossing in green like the rest of the track? A horse tried to jump the crossing after finishing in race 2. That's from Pete.
Blend the crossing?
So they're talking make the crossing green as well, where you've got the fibre chips or whatever at the crossing.
Oh, okay.
With paint?
Yes.
I think horses would shy more at that than have a blatant crossing. There's been crossings for years and years and years.
They've been crossing. It was once in my time, and I won't mention the committeeman who suggested that during a winter where Belmont Park was, when it can look very brown.
Yes.
He did suggest in a monthly committee meeting that we should look at painting it green, but I won't mention who that gentleman is.
Get Vincent Van Gogh down there in the morning.
WA Day Festival Sunday 2nd and Monday 3rd of June over the 1,600 metres. What about... He's become the people's champ.
Not Secrets going up next in the middle, followed by Yarralee, Media, Baron, Stylax hugging the fence, and last is Come Right Back into the home straight. 300 to go. LA goes up to Savage One. Here's Ollie's Choice cruising up now to grab them. Ollie's Choice reaches the lead narrowly, but LA, it fights back resolutely. LA, Ollie's Choice the outside. Ollie's Choice going a little better than LA. The favourite will win it. Goes home to score. Ollie's Choice from LA. Not Secret grabbed third. And then Destinee fourth.
Okay, Rich, this will be a magnificent delve into the history of Ollie's Choice.
Well, Ollie's Choice, he's just come of age, hasn't he? Really, in recent times. He was that run-on horse who was a bit of a teaser, fairly enigmatic, although clearly had an enormous ability. And yeah, he strung together those wins. Let's not forget, he had consistency with his wins early on back in 2022 in the heading towards the spring. He won 3 races in a row. And then things started to go a bit funny, and he was disqualified in the Fitzpatrick, and then he ran a string of races where he was getting back, running on, and even recently when he resumed, he's put in some absolute bolly busters. But it's only in the last few weeks, well, the last month or so, he's really turned it around with Willie jumping on, and he's just looked so focused, Lochie.
He has, and it's just hard to know what his ceiling is because you go back and look at his last 3 wins. He's won by almost 2 lengths. Last start, he won by a length and a half, and there yesterday he's won by almost a length, and he's doing it with a sense of ease. The way he just idles up to them when Willie Pike says go, it's really difficult to know what the bottom of him really is. Is he a Hannon's horse? Is he an Ascot Carnival horse? I'm really not sure, but either way, I think the Pierce brothers are having a great deal of fun with him, and they're just going to continue to place him in the manner they are, and eventually we'll learn in the months to come what his level truly is.
Be interesting to see if he could get over 1,800 metres, 2,000 metres, because he sat 3 wide there, no cover, and he kept going on pretty strongly. He got past a horse who's not easy to get past, particularly lately. LA, isn't he going well? LA to the power of 2. He's really toughing out his races. Not Secret. I know there's someone in for a very big 6-figure result here with Not Secret if it got home, but it could only manage 3rd, but ran home well, I thought, over the final stages. And Desenia battled away fairly above the peg. No mile.
Yes.
It cannot run a mile.
Correct.
And we needed to find out yesterday. It tracked up beautifully, 3 deep on the back of Ollie's Choice, and yet that final furlong, no, there was no gas in the tank.
On Racing Rewind, it is time for the boys to look back and determine who are the black bookers, the ones to be on next start, the horses to follow.
Okay, horses to follow time, and let's start with you, Loch.
Horses to follow, Ron's Final Flutter. I thought that was a great debut in the opener, albeit the winner. I love the look of him. He was very dominant. The Boss Lady in the Raconteur. I think weight swings and 1,400 will suit her. And I love the return of Capricorn Man out of the informed Casey Yard. 1,200 metres next start. Finds the front, and I think he'll be winning.
Okay, I'm going to go the belligerent Bolshevik, the Russian sniper.
Yes.
Yeah, I think he'll be really hard to beat next start. If he draws a gate and sits close, he could blow them away. The other one, I'm really hoping that if Sharon's listening, Beat the Bro. Sharon, there's no 1,400 next week, but there's probably one the week later. Bring this horse back from the 16 to the 14. Tuck the horse in about 5th or 6th place on the pegs. And then,
so Sharon's riding it as well now.
Yeah, that's right. These are the instructions, Sharon to Jade, and then get the horse into the clear and he'll motor home and win at 20 to 1.
That's quite amazing, Richie. Thank you for coming in today. Considering you had a brush with death earlier on, you've been fantastic. Loch, always good?
Always good. I was a little bit nervous having Richie in my presence.
But beautiful.
Yeah, no, the symbiosis was there.